Hello, I'm Brandy Agerbeck, and I'd love to tell you what's happening here at loosetooth.com HQ. So it is currently the fall of 2013, and the last 2 years there's been a lot of really great changes happening with loosetooth.com, and I'd like to tell you where I've been recently and where I'm going next. And broadly speaking, before 2012, pretty much my work was working as a graphic facilitator. So I'd bring in a big roll of paper and markers and map out people's conversations while they're talking. And in 2012, I was sort of hitting, a couple years before that, I was hitting this point where I had a lifetime of drawing experience and a career worth of 15 years of working with clients as a graphic facilitator. And I knew I wanted to get what the heck I knew out in the world. I just didn't know what form that was going to take. So 2012 was really important because I started to put things out there in two major ways, through teaching and through writing. And today's video, I'd love to tell you about the teaching side of things. So I had done a 101 session with my good friend Lynn Carruthers at the IFEP conference years ago, and I was really struggling with not getting that excited about teaching a 101 session, because generally speaking, 101 sessions tend to be sort of step-by-step, very sequential, and that's not the way I work or think at all. And so over time I decided, like, oh, wait a second, what if I use my love of science and experimentation, and because I went to college thinking I was going to become a high school biology teacher, married with my experience of then deciding to become an art major, my experience with critique, and constructive criticism through being a fine artist. What if I married those two things and created the kind of class that I would be most interested in, and that became the lab. So the lab is a 3-day immersion into visual thinking using the lens of graphic facilitation. And we've done 5 labs so far, and they've been fantastic. I mean, we get to geek out like you would not believe over, like, you know, how do images communicate, and how do you distill language and work spatially and all this great stuff. So the lab is it's a 3-day format here in Chicago. 6 people join me for every lab. And what's great is it's a very nice small group. It's all one conversation. Everyone gets to know each other. And one of the best things I've heard testimonial after testimonial is that people learn as much from each other as they do from me, which is wonderful. I also love that only about 1/3 of the people who come to the lab are interested in becoming graphic facilitators or are graphic facilitators. Excuse me, 2/3 of the folks come from different roles and different industries. And so it's a wonderful variety of people come together. And I love that all these folks are interested in how to really strengthen their ability to listen and think and draw, to be able to take things that are really complex and map them out on pieces of paper. So that's the lab. And so what the original idea was to do them twice a year, 6 months apart, in Januaries and Julys. So my idea was that for folks that are self-employed, that there might be times where they have less client work. For people who are employed, there might be easier times to get off work. And so the very first lab was in July of 2012, so summer last year. And that was fantastic, wonderful group of folks. And what was one of the people was like, when can I do it again? And I'm like, that's awesome. I don't know anyone who would want to do the lab again, but you know, we'll see. So so the first one was July of 2012, and then once that was finished, I opened up registration for the next one, which was January of 2013. Another fantastic group. I'm going to say that over and over again because they all have been fantastic groups of people. When we finished the January lab, I then decided to do 2 labs this summer. So this summer we had 2 labs. I opened registration for 2 labs in July on each side of the graphic facilitation conference. Wonderfully, those 2 labs filled up very quickly. And so I thought, oh, maybe I need to change my plan from every 6 months, winters and summers, to having one in the fall. So at this point, I opened up a lab in October, and then the next lab in January. So it is now November. Just a few weeks ago we had this October lab, which was lovely. October is my favorite time of year here in Chicago, and here it felt like August practically. It was crazy warm, but anyhow. So we had a wonderful group here in October. We have nobody signed up for January at all. It's completely open. So when I'm looking at the lab and experimenting, I'm thinking, maybe this experiment didn't work. Maybe having the lab that frequently is diminishing returns. I have heard feedback from folks that, for a lot of the folks who are internal, it takes a while for them to get budgets ready for using their professional development budget towards coming to the lab. It is a big expense, I totally understand. It's also a big commitment of time to come here for 3 days with the travel. So currently, like I said, this lab right here is empty. Here's what you need to know. Currently, this is the only lab that I'm going to be having in the US in 2014, because this year's Graphic Facilitators Conference is UViz. It's actually a broader conference about visual thinking. That's going to be happening in Berlin, late July. So much like having these two labs timed around the IFVP conference, this summer I will be doing 2 labs in Europe next summer. So I'm currently working out the logistics here. I can't tell you exactly where they're going to be, but the intention is to have 2 labs, 6 spots apiece, so 12 people can join me in Europe for labs. Here's the deal. I don't know what to do with this one. So because of my commitment with the summit, and because I think most people, they do want to plan ahead, maybe we're not going to have the January lab. No, so here's my current thinking, is to put a 2-week window. So from now to November 18th, I'm going to have a 2-week window for registration. If you are interested in joining me in the January lab, please register by November 18th. If I get at least 4 people, we have enough people to have a robust lab and go forward with it in January. If we don't, we'll cancel the lab. It's okay. It's part of the experiment. And then I won't have a lab in the US during 2014. I'll pick up another one in January of 2015. So if you're interested in joining me in the lab, please register. If it happens that we don't get 4 people registered by the 18th, I will refund everyone's registration fees, and we'll have a labless January. There you go. But generally speaking, I want you to know that the lab is here to stay. I'm very excited to do it. I love doing it here in Chicago. It is a new experiment to do it in Europe. I'm sure people from other corners of the world are like, when's the lab in our corner of the world? I don't know. This really is the challenge of me being a solopreneur, of being a company of one, is that my intentions are much larger than my capacity. So I would love to have labs in other parts of the world. The major constraints to that are getting enough people committed and interested, and help with the logistics. So if you're somebody who's part of a community that is interested in this kind of work, and you think you can bring together 6 people who are interested and committed and can help me with logistics, let's talk. I have created a specifications document about what makes the lab in Chicago so successful. So if you are interested in holding a lab in your part of the world, please do contact me, brandy@loosetooth.com. But in summary, I am very happy with now coming out with this opportunity to teach through the lab. Again, I'm going to go back to summers and winters, so we have a nice chunk of time in between each one for people to register and plan and budget and make travel arrangements and all that good stuff. One last pitch, January lab, currently 6 spots open, all 6 spots. If you are interested, please register between now and November 18th. If we get 4 people joining me, we will go ahead with the lab. If not, I will refund everyone's registration fee and cancel the lab. I can tell you that the people who were here for this January lab said they were able to find really great travel deals, and all the sales are happening on Michigan Avenue in January. So, maybe you save your Christmas budget and have Christmas in July after you come back from Chicago. So that is what's happening here at loosetooth.com headquarters in regards to teaching and the lab. Thank you so much for watching.